But all right, let me jump over. Let's see what I got. I got the WWE Raw. So this is November 11th, Monday. So almost a week ago now. We're recording this on a Sunday. It'll probably be out on Monday morning. So I'm hoping people will watch this before they watch the next episode of Raw tomorrow on the 18th. But all right, so big Bronson Reed. So the segment, the angle here is that he's continuing his mission to take out Seth Rollins, basically. Like what happened last week? So last week he had lost at Crown Jewel to Seth, and then he ruined Seth's #1 contenders match. It was a 4-way, and he came in and fucking just caused havoc again. So he came in and cut a promo, which I liked his promo. It started off slow, but in the end, I think the point he made was that he said Seth got the better of him as a competitor at Crown Jewel, but Reed is not. He said, "I am not a competitor. I am a monster," right? And he's put a bunch of people down last week, and he'll put up anyone down who gets in his way of him taking care of Seth for good. So that's his goal. His goal is to just fucking get rid of Seth Rollins, which seems a little weird because it's like, dude, this is a wrestling show. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be here wrestling. What is your point here? Just trying to take people out and kill them and put them in the hospital or something? What the fuck is this? This is not professional. But anyways, so here's some facial expressions of Bronson Reed while he's talking, which I'm a big fan of. Honestly, he's been a really great classic wrestler. But Seth Rollins did come out to respond. His music hit. And he runs into the ring, so it got back to being just fiery right away, and they go right at it yet again, and then there's a big pull apart, and the security comes out, and that's pretty much it for this segment here. There's Adam Pearce trying to tell Seth to get to the back, and here's Bronson Reed with the crazy faces, which I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed's crazy faces. So, all right, so Reed and Seth Rollins is going to continue. And I think there's a scene also in the back where Seth Rollins is saying he wants Bronson Reed one more time. And Adam Pearce is like, fine, if you fucking want it one more time, this is the last time, though, next week. So they set it up for next Monday's Raw. All right, so this angle on this night, let's see what you guys rated it. I have ratings from Robert also on this one, so Robert's not here. But me and Robert gave this 2 thumbs up for Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins continuing their thing, and you gave it a thumbs up. So, all right, well, I'm going to put a stop clock for this one since we talked forever on last one. I'll put 90 seconds up here. I don't know if you can see that.
I see it.
All right. Well, Vlad, thumbs up from you on. We all know what happened later in the week with Bronson Reed and stuff, but I want you to hold off on that and just whatever you remembered about Seth Rollins, and you could be brief if you want, because I know we got to move on to the next topic. But Seth and Bronson Reed going to fight yet again, and I guess it continued just because Bronson Reed wants it to, right? There's really no reason why. He lost the match, but he still wants it to continue, so it is going to continue. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this feud. I've really enjoyed Bronson Reed. He's just been tremendous ever since he first attacked Seth Rollins all those months ago. He's been a great addition to the main angles, or some of the main angles, or some of the main.
He's a top guy, bro. He's a fucking top guy now.
I agree. I definitely I see it. I think he cut a pretty decent promo. I mean, he's not the best promo guy in the world, but he cut a pretty decent one, and his matches are all pretty legit looking, honestly. Like, he's a big dude. He fights, but he moves quite well, and his work, is pretty solid from what I've seen. Like, I don't think he does anything that's embarrassing at all. And like I said, he moves well. He can hit that tsunami, off the top. So overall, I mean, I've enjoyed it mostly because of Bronson Reed. Now, I know Seth Rollins is a tremendous worker and has a long history of being a great wrestler. But, my feelings on Seth, and I've made that clear before. His character has never been one of my favorites. But when he's serious, he's not bad, So this whole thing has been pretty solid top to bottom. So I'll leave it at that. Good angle, and I've enjoyed it. All
right. I really liked it. I was into the Bronson Reed facial expressions, so that's why I gave it 2 thumbs up on mine. But I'm gonna move on to something on this Raw. So I'm gonna stick with this Raw, November 11th. So I'm gonna jump to another angle that happened on this night involving the Bloodline. There they are. Here's an image for you YouTube people out there of the Usos, Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy. And so they're looking for a 5th partner for WarGames. So they announced this kind of on this night, I think. This was the first time I learned of it, that they just figured out, okay, we got to have a 5th guy because it's going to be 5-on-5.
But why does it need to be 5-on-5 is the part that doesn't make sense. There's 4 of them, and there's 4 of them. It could be 4-on-4 WarGames. I don't really see a reason for
WarGames. There has been 4-on-4 WarGames, but
I don't really understand the need for a 5th guy for either team. But okay, if that's the direction they want to go, that's their choice. I personally don't see a need. I mean, you have the Bloodline versus Bloodline, and there's 4 of each. That's it. It's already made. Like, why do you even need to add anybody? But okay, they must have a reason for it. But I just don't see it. I don't see the need. But maybe they do.
Well, regardless, let me go through what happened real quick. Yeah. I know if you guys haven't seen this, I assume whoever's watching our show has seen this. But if not, you can check out the links in the description below, and in our review there's videos of this if you really need to see it. But yes, here's so Sammy basically said, I have an idea. I know someone I think I can ask. And he didn't even say who it was, and he just kind of left the scene, and the Usos are staring. They're like, all right, let's see what he comes up with. So back to the last angle we were talking about. So I'm jumping to when Seth Rollins was talking to Adam Pearce about trying to get a match with Bronson Reed. So he did get that match, and when Adam Pearce walked off, Sami Zayn walks in right at that moment, and to talk to Seth Rollins about joining the Bloodline, or the OG Bloodline, I guess, in WarGames, which right after Seth Rollins got into a big fight with Bronson Reed. So it was kind of weird timing. Even the commentators mentioned this, but Seth Rollins was kind of receptive to listening, so he listened. Sammy gave his spiel. He's like, hey, isn't there some part of you that's still kind of got a soft spot for Roman? And Seth Rollins was like, hell nah. No way, right? And I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, but basically it was like, hell no.
It was basically like, yes.
Sammy was like dejected, and then later in the night, so they're still looking for another partner, and Jimmy said, I got an idea. So Bron Breakker is getting interviewed here, and he had a thing with Sheamus, which we listed as a separate angle that we reviewed on our Raw review. If you guys want to see that, it's on the description below. I'll post a link to our Raw post from earlier this week. We reviewed all the angles already. But as for this angle, after Bron Breakker was done talking to Sheamus, Jimmy Uso comes up and he talks to Bron Breakker. He's like, hey, I got something to talk to you about. You got a minute? And Bron Breakker's like, sure, I got a minute. I'll listen. So that's all that happened there. And then later in the night, I think one of the interviewers was trying to get an interview with Seth Rollins, and then Seth bumps into Solo and Jacob Fatu out in the parking lot. And Solo and Jacob Fatu give their pitch to Seth Rollins to join their side. And once again, he was like, hell no. And here's Solo holding back Jacob, saying, don't do nothing. So that's that. Okay, so that's all we got on Raw. There were more events on Smackdown, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'll get your Raw review, since we got reviews from you and Robert, the Frozen Asian, who's not here. But I'll give his review anyways today. So for this Raw angle involving the Bloodline, looking for 5th members, both sides, I gave it 2 thumbs up. So I was a big fan of this. I loved it. And then you and Robert are just a thumbs up. So you guys like this. So although you had your criticism, which I heard you talk about as we started this angle, talking about it, about how you didn't really think there was a need for a 5th guy. But other than that, if there's anything you want to talk about how you felt on this night, or if you want, I'll just move on to SmackDown. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything to say here. No, we can just move on to SmackDown, because I think that really furthers. But yeah, this was good. I'll just leave it at that. It was good. But I think talking about what happened next on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about this now that we actually know what happened, because I think in the days between Raw and SmackDown, we were like kind of just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, who's gonna be the fifth guy?
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't seem like it was gonna be Seth at this point. But after we see what happens on SmackDown, we might get a different view. So, all right, let's just do it. Let's jump to SmackDown. So this is this is SmackDown from the 15th, Friday. So a couple days ago now. We're recording this on a Sunday night. If anyone didn't see any of this, it was pretty wild shit. I posted a video in the description below. If you guys really need to watch what happened before we review it, you can press pause on our video and go to that and watch it, and then come back to this and then listen to our review. But anyway, so here's the Usos again. Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay, the three brothers. And they're still looking for a fifth guy. So again, Sammy goes, "Oh, I got an idea. I got someone in mind." So he goes to LA Knight. What the fuck? Why would he go to LA Knight after everything LA Knight's been through with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline? That made no sense. Seth,
well, why would he go with Seth? You could understand, even though
Seth and Roman used to be a team, even though they
the Shield.
They had a falling out, but at least they were a team at one point.
Right.
These guys, LA Knight never fucking liked Roman Reigns, so that one didn't make any sense to me. But LA Knight did say in his promo that, you know, that's not my fight. So Sammy goes back to the Usos, and they go into Roman Reigns' locker room, and they hang out with him. And I think they mentioned that Roman was supposed to call somebody or make a phone call, and they just kind of mentioned that at the moment. They didn't really say who they were talking about. And then Solo Sikoa's music hit, and the old Bloodline can see that the new Bloodline are coming out to the ring, and they're like, well, fuck it, let's go fuck those guys. So immediately they get up and head to the arena inside, and Solo's he starts talking, but he doesn't talk for that long, and that's when Roman's music hit, and here comes the OG Bloodline ready to have a war with the new Bloodline, which they got a pretty cool T-shirt, the OG Bloodline. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly.
agreed.
And then seeing the four of them together is also pretty damn cool.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a trip. So here's the new Bloodline waiting for them in the ring, and they just go to war. Basically, that this is like WarGames without a steel cage, and they start brawling. Here's some pictures. I'm glossing over a lot of it, but the surprise. What was the big surprise? So there was a spot where Roman did save Sammy from a Samoan spike from Solo. So he saved Sammy, which was kind of a nice moment. That was like kind of weird. But the surprise came when, here's a Sammy top rope dive. So this was a wild scene. It was just everything happening everywhere. And Jacob Fatu's in the ring facing off with Roman. And then from behind, out of freaking nowhere, big Bronson Reed, who we were just talking about from SmackDown. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck, Bronson Reed? You gotta be kidding me, bro. Is this guy like in the Bloodline? Is he related? I was like, first of all, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But, okay, he looks Samoan. He looks the part.
He does look the part. If they said he was Samoan initially, it would have been perfect. But no, he's obviously not Samoan. He's not. I don't think he's an official member of any Bloodline.
I think he might be Samoan. I heard someone say today that he's Samoan, but we could look that up later. But anyways,
yeah, let's look that up. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, the Bloodline should get him into the family somehow. Like Solo should hook him up with like a sister or something, so he could be in the Bloodline. But
that's true.
All right. Let me go over the rest of this real quick before we get some thoughts from Vlad on all this madness that happened. But I'm skipping over a lot of it. But basically, Roman did make a comeback, and he Superman punched Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, and even gave one to Bronson Reed, who did a hell of a job selling it. I loved how he sold it. Like, he just exaggerates his body movements so much that I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed's work. But this turned into a Bloodline beatdown. I'm just gonna make a long story short and skip to the splash, the tsunami splash onto Roman Reigns from Bronson Reed. So, goddamn, fucking the Bloodline coming up with Bronson Reed. That is some catch right there, man. They got a big star. So 5-on-4 with Bronson Reed, they whoop the Bloodline's ass, and they're gloating. And then I think Jey Uso's in the ring, and he tells Roman, "Hey, you got to make that phone call, man. Make that phone call." Like, who? I thought he meant you got to call Seth and apologize because we need like that type of firepower. But later in the night, after the WWE Women's Championship match, they cut back to Roman's locker room for like one quick segment at the end, and he's all hurt, and he grabs his phone and he makes a phone call and he says, "Call the wise man, call Paul Heyman," and then it says that the Lion is no longer in service. So Paul Heyman's phone number is gone, and Roman just drops the phone and he's all dejected, and that was his last idea. He doesn't know what else to do now. So, all right, reviews. So, where am I on this? So, Robert didn't submit a review. Maybe he didn't have time to watch Smackdown. I don't know. So, I got mine and yours. So, you gave this 2 thumbs up. So, you love this. I'm at a fire, man. This was fucking fire, dude. The introduction of Bronson Reed and the excitement and all the fucking chaos and melee and just Roman getting splashed by fucking Bronson Reed. I don't want to say it blew my mind because, I don't know, part of me expected with Seth involved and maybe Bronson Reed would get involved, but I thought it was fire. So I gave it plus 5 points on my Smackdown review, which gave my Smackdown review a pretty good score. But, all right, I'm going to jump to you. Whatever thoughts you have about the Bloodline for this segment or for the whole week, I guess. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? This was a chaotic masterpiece. It was a great segment, from the beginning to the end, and even that thing at the end with Roman calling Paul Heyman, and for some reason the line being, I guess he changed his number, which is kind of weird, but okay. But it was kind of a nice touch because it just like left so much uncertainty for the original Bloodline. The whole thing was like a masterfully done, and adding Bronson Reed. Why questionable in the sense of why they need a 5th person, still was a great reveal because as we both said, we're big fans of Bronson Reed. Just the work that he's, just the work that he's done basically since he's been elevated in his spot has been tremendous, right? So we're happy that he's involved in this because it adds like another badass to this really top angle. I mean, I think at that point, Seth is going to get involved because he just wants to get a Bronson Reed, so he will be most likely he'll be their 5th member. Let's just be honest at this point. Not so much because of he wants to team up with Roman, but I think he's going to say something to the fact of he just wants to get at Bronson Reed. So if Bronson Reed is in this match, now I'm going to be in this match type of deal. So yeah, but anyway, this has been it's been wonderful. I mean, it's amazing to say that the Bloodline angle has really been carrying WWE, and it's been like what 4 or 5 years since they first introduced the Bloodline, but it's still going kind of hot. Pretty amazing. I have to give them credit.
Well, a couple things. So first of all, okay, I get Bronson Reed wanting to be involved in this because he just wants to be a top guy, and this is just like a name program. So who wouldn't want to be in WarGames? So I get that. But it is a little weird that he's involved with Seth and he's kind of jumping over to this too. You know what I mean? But irregardless, the other thing about Paul Heyman changing his number, it's probably because he got fucking demolished and beat up so bad by these criminal Bloodline members.
He's hiding. He's in hiding.
He's like, I just don't want to see these guys ever again. Better I stay away from this whole thing. So I keep my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see him saying something like that when they do eventually bring him back. He'll say something like that. I bet.